What's up? How are you? I am currently in the beautiful Tulum. I can show you my view in a second. But this video, I really want to talk about two things that I'm focusing on in this year, because at the end of the year, my business didn't feel as good as I wanted it to feel. And I know for a lot of the people that's a similar case, right? There's a lot changing in the market, as far as trust and, just as far as what's working. And so the two things that I want to talk about are one, my relationship to God, and now how that feels really core to what I'm building and the way I want to be building. And the second thing is something I'm calling the core offer model, which is basically a way to build the business in a real lean, efficient way. And through this, through the core offer model, right? You don't need a large team, right? Also you also don't need to do sales calls unless you want to do sales calls. And I've been wanting to do less sales calls. And something else that I'm really appreciating about the core offer model is that it prioritizes turning customers into clients. And that's really the funnel that I'm focusing on now in my business, right? I'm calling it a customer to client funnel, because in the past, like a lot of other people, I've focused on getting leads and turning those leads into sales calls and turning those sales calls into high ticket clients. But yeah, I mean, there's easier ways to do it. There's ways to create less friction in that process. And there's also easier ways to make it so that you're able to build trust with people because they've invested in something that maybe was less risky, right, at first, right? But you're not just getting a ton of freebie seekers, right? I didn't love, like, some things I didn't love. I didn't love doing the like low ticket subscription school thing where you give all of your stuff away. I'm a projector in human design, so maybe that's something to do with it. But energetically, it was just like that just didn't feel good to me. That exchange, and I didn't want to have to do a ton of sales calls. I did also want to be able to de-risk things for people. So there's some things that I'm experimenting with as far as pricing, being able to test out more weekly pricing models or models where there's like a setup fee and weekly pricing. I'm also, really experimenting with something that I had already been doing was, the customer client funnel, but now just putting in the infrastructure to do it even better. So that's some of what I'm going to be sharing, because I really don't, I mean, it's not super sustainable to only be doing just the high ticket, right? Because then there's people that you are not monetizing, right? There's people that, and it's feast or famine, right? There's no continuation, right? So that's another big thing about the core offer model, is being able to create continuation, monthly recurring revenue, right? And so there's just a lot of flaws with the traditional high ticket model. One being that feast or famine cycle where you're kind of starting every month back at zero, right? And there's no reoccurring revenue. Some other things is like people want implementation, right? They don't want as much of just the information, right? And also just so many people have been burned, in the marketplace, that they want to be able to test things out. And so a lot of what I'm sharing today are just different things that I'm seeing as, just beneficial to combat a lot of that. One thing that would help happen to me as well is that I would have people like, if I had a 3 month or 6 month container, maybe it's just me and I need to have better boundaries, but I felt like let's say there was a certain number of calls within the container, right? I felt like the container often would go for longer than that set amount of time, right? And it's like, okay, the person invested, you want them to still be able to get the calls or whatever, right, in the container, right? But I don't mind. I'm not here to rush anyone's process, but I also want to be compensated when things go beyond the contractual agreement. And so a lot of what I'm thinking, I'm not going to get too much into pricing today. I think pricing, we can do another video about it. But I just want to just talk about some things that I am, just focusing on and where I see things going. So, I'll share this view, because this view is sweet, and we can transition to what I was going to say about God, and then I'll share a little bit about the core offer model and what I had in mind. But yeah, just when it comes to relationship with God, the best way I can describe it is through a lot of Neville Goddard's work, and then the law of assumption. So one of the big insights that I've had recently is, one, it's important for me to bring God into this work, right? The purpose, well, I wouldn't say the purpose, but in the process of building the business, right? So much of what is cool to me and what drives me is the fact that as we build the business, we are able to uncover more of ourselves, right? We are able to remove layers of conditioning. We're able to access our fullness and our creativity and our expression, basically accessing our godlike nature, right? Awakening, in a sense, not in a sense, awakening, right? And so that's so core to what I feel like is my mission here on this planet, is to help people. I call it liberated creator, but help people to wake up to themselves, wake up to what I used to call in my former company their inner glow, right? Wake up to who they are really at their core, right? And I really lost sight of that. And so that feels really important to bring into the business, especially because God feels like the biggest thing for me right now. And I want to talk about that more. Yeah. And that's funny because I this is kind of a side note, but there was a point where this kid in, I think it was 11th grade, he stood up and he was like, yeah, I'm atheist. And I was like, oh shit, like that's a possibility? Like you can be atheist? And I was like, fuck it, I'm atheist too, right? Because I just had a lot of conflicting feelings about my experience at the church. So fast forward to now, I don't know, that was like what? That was a long time ago. Fast forward to now, like 15 years ago. Fast forward to now, and yeah, it feels really cool to have the relationship with God that I do now. Now, along with that, speaking of Neville Goddard, a big thing that I'm feeling or understanding is when I'm thinking about the law of assumption, right? So I feel like other people have this challenge as well, especially when they think about manifestation and things like that, right? So when I was thinking about the law of assumption before, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like when you assume something to be true, right? Basically, if you walk through the world as if it's done, it's going to manifest into your reality, right? That's basically the law of assumption, right? You assume it to be done, right? Which in theory sounds cool, right? If it's like an Amazon package I order on Amazon, I'm assuming it's showing up. I'm not worried about it. I'm good. I'm chilling. But what I noticed with a lot of the other things that I wanted to create is that with this law of assumption, me assuming really turned into me trying, right? Because I thought, okay, in order to be assuming that this thing is done, I have to be a different version of myself. The version of myself that feels like they already have that, right? The version of myself that is different. It is and so that would create a separation, right? And from that separation, I would feel pressure to act like this other version of myself. I would feel like I didn't actually have it because there was this sense of separation, this sense of lack. And what I'm understanding now about the law of assumption, this came to me. I was at the beach last week, and I was re-listening to some Neville Goddard stuff in the morning, and then reflecting on it at the beach, and I was like, ooh, I get it now. I get it now, right? And really what I understand now is with this law of assumption, it is, it's less about trying to be someone else, and it's more about relaxing into my nature and allowing. And here's the thing, right? Because that impulse, that thing that I want to create, that I realized I was going to talk about God and then talk about the other thing, and now I'm just going in about God and surrender. But this is cool. I realized that impulse, right? That creative impulse, that desire, that vision, it's already coming through me. It's not something I need to try for. I don't need to try for the desire. I don't need to try for the download, the guidance, the expression, right? I just need to allow it, right? I am the one, because of my conditioning, that would have the download, the idea, and block it and say, no, I need to do this thing first, or I need to make it look like this, or is it good enough, or is it going to work, blah, blah, blah. But it's already trying to come through me. So rather than trying to be something else, or trying to be this new version of myself, I just need to relax and allow the version of myself that's already here, that's already coming through. And that was a big shift, because that helped me see, oh, that is God. That is allowing God, is being able to relax into my nature. So yeah, I feel like I want to make a separate video talking about the core offer model. So I'm just going to highlight a little bit of it right now, because I feel like we already did what we needed to do with with this video, with talking about, God. But so I'm going to expand on this more at another time. But really the idea, transitioning from God, right? We all are designed in specific ways, right? We all have what I like to call a unique genius, right? And so given the unique genius that we all have, when we're able to really have that be weaved into all parts of our business, we have that alignment. We have that alignment to self-liberation. We also have the full alignment to the channel of what we're supposed to be creating, right? And so I'm going to dive into this more in a different video, because I realized we went in one direction, and that was the direction that made a lot of sense, right? But the big idea that I'm getting at here is I already have my people, right? And I want to make it easier for my people to know the stuff is for them, right? And so when it comes to the core offer model, what I will highlight quickly just to wrap up the video is being able to have different points of access for people to try in a way that makes sense for them, and then allowing them to ascend, right? And so I'm going to wrap on talking about that now, because, we did what we needed to do with this video. But, focuses on God, surrender, and turning customers into clients, because that's what feels energizing for me and aligned for me. So that's me, start of the year. I'm excited to get you more YouTube videos and really build this community on here. All right, lot of love. Have a blessed rest of your day.